Hey singers, I'm Sarah Lieb and this is singingtv.com. Together you and I, we're making singing simple. Today I want to sort of redo some past videos on just basic musicianship and how to read music. I know I've been gone for a few months, that's because I was building this lovely space. I think you can just see the whiteboard with the staff lines on it, but eventually you'll get to know this wonderful space I've built. And let's begin. I want to show you how we show where the notes are and how to read them. You can see 5 different lines here. This is called a staff. First line, starting from the bottom. First line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line. I'm actually going to number those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see those lines numbered up. I also want to show you now what we call a clef. We have different clefs in music, but I'm first going to show you a treble clef. Line goes all the way down, coming out to the right and crossing over at the fourth line up, and then circling around the second line. This is how we draw a treble clef. We call it treble. Treble clef. So this treble clef is going to show us exactly where notes are. We have lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here I'm going to write lines. Here I'm going to write spaces. This should become pretty clear for you guys if you're looking here. And what we have to do is every note is assigned to a different line or a different space, and while it can be hard at first to go, okay, I have to count up, and generally you're going to have to count up for a while until you basically just memorize where all of these notes are, but you'll get there and I'll show you how. So, in the treble clef, our lines, let's go over here again, and then let's go over here for spaces. Our lines start like this. E, G, can you see that that's a G? B, D, and F. First line, E, second line, G, third line, B, fourth line, D, fifth line, F. And the spaces in between are F, and A, and C, and E. You can see that that spells face. So we have these little mnemonic devices to help us memorize where the notes are. Obviously you're not going to actually see an E written on a line or a D written on a line. You're going to see a note, something like that, and the notes will come later. We're not going to get to that yet. So the first thing to do is just to be able to recognize what these notes are, and we have these little mnemonic devices that help us. We say, every good boy does fine. You can make up your own if you don't like that one. You can say, every good boy deserves fudge. There are tons of them. Elvis grows barreling down freeways is something I've heard too. So make up your own, it doesn't matter to me, as long as it helps you. If you see a note here on the third line up, right, and you go, what could that note be? Let me see if I can figure it out. Every good boy, boy is B, so that's a B. That should be, basically we're just creating an answer key. The work then is not being able to do and understand this, it's being able to memorize it and know it fast enough just by instantly being able to recognize what these things are, and I'll show you later how to do that. You can see that within the spaces, F-A-C-E spells face, so we don't need another mnemonic device. What I want you to notice, of course, is that, and if you were looking at a keyboard, you'd see that notes are right next to each other. This line is E, this space is F. G, A, B, C, D, E, F. So the notes do go in order, line, space, line, space, line, space, line. Of course, the only notes that we have are from A all the way to G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's no H, and then we start over again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So that's the easiest thing to do for the lines and spaces in the treble clef. Now let me show you a little bit of a trick. Hang on one sec, I gotta go over here and grab some note cards. There's a little bit of a trick that I want you guys to do in order to be able to memorize these things, because it's great if you go, okay, I see this note, E, G, B, that's a B. But of course we want our recognition to be faster than that, in the same way that you had your recognition for numbers faster. If you see 5 times 5, you know it's 25, because in the 3rd or the 4th grade, or the 3rd grade, I guess you went over and over and over your multiplication tables. You've got to do the same thing here. So here's what I would do, and this is what I like to regularly have my students do. I take a regular, this is just a 3 by 5 inch note card. It's lined already, so it's easy for me. You don't have to be anal about it and use a ruler, just, 5 lines. Here's my treble clef. And then what I would do is put a note, that's a whole note, we'll get to that later, right here on the front, and then I would label the back E. It's the first line. First line on the back is E. Do that over and over for every note, and as soon as you see that, you'll start to recognize first line means E. And you'll do these over and over, and eventually you'll be able to just recognize easily without having to count, without having to use any mnemonic devices. I think that's the best way to do it. Do it for every note on every line and on every space. Boom, you'll be good to go. So I hope that helps. We'll go on. The next episode will be a bass clef one. And the real important thing, though, the work that you really have to do, that's doing the note cards. That's the memorization part that's the hard part. This is easy. Memorizing it is the hard thing. So I urge you all to just go, it's like $1 at Staples or Office Max or something, to get those note cards, write them down, do it, study. Thanks so much. I'm Sarah Lieb. This is singingtv.com. Together you and I, we're making singing simple.